We are following breaking news. Luigi Mangione faced a federal judge in New York just a short time ago after waiving extradition in a Pennsylvania court earlier this morning. Anna Schecter is back here with me in Studio 57. She has been following this case for us through it all. Anna is, of course, the senior coordinating producer for our CBS News Crime and Public Safety Unit. So, Anna, what unfolded in court today? How did Mangione appear?
Well, he seemed calm. I mean, we saw him in the footage, very calm as he was being escorted. That demeanor played out in court as well. We've got a couple of reporters down there in court who have been sending us these notes. He walked in, nodded to his legal team. Interesting, it's a husband and wife legal team who were there at that bench on his side. No family members appeared to be there, which was interesting to note. So it seemed like just those two attorneys. And then you also had an FBI special agent who worked on the case who was there. So not a packed courtroom today. But it did get really interesting as his defense attorney was saying she'd never seen this in her almost three decades of practice, where you'd have federal charges brought in this way after you had the Manhattan District Attorney bring 11 charges, including a first-degree murder charge, which is a terrorism-related charge. I mean, the letter of the law in that count that we read yesterday was that the act was designed to incite terror in the population, amongst civilians. And so that's their justification for that. A lot of questions about that. The feds could have decided not to bring these charges and to just let the Manhattan District Attorney take this case, going for first-degree murder. If he's convicted, that carries potentially life in prison without parole. So that's a very big sentence. The federal murder charge, that could also be life in prison. They might think, well, we feel like we might have a better case and we might secure a guilty conviction. That's more shored up than the district attorney, but a lot of questions.
Well, lots of questions, and one of those questions is about this interplay between the federal and the state. And this was a federal arraignment that he went to first. Does that mean that the federal charges might take precedence and that the federal trial will happen before anything will happen with the state then?
It does indicate that. I mean, yesterday, if we were talking at this exact same time of day, we were just looking at him being extradited to New York on these Manhattan District Attorney charges, and he was going to be going down to one building, where sort of the legal proceedings are carried out for the Manhattan District Attorney. Now, last night, we got indication that the feds were going to file charges, and that changes the game. Even though the NYPD, as you saw, they had their chopper transporting him down to Wall Street, the feds have really stepped in, and they're taking the lead on this. This arraignment, the federal judge read him his rights, asked, do you understand what the charges are? She started to read the charges. He waived reading of the entire complaint because it's pretty lengthy. He said, yes, I understand. And then it was pretty quick. It was about a 20-minute arraignment hearing. These are often pretty quickly, but this is a first step. You have to do this. You have to have the suspect come in, appear before a judge, read the charges, and he has to verbally say, yes, I understand what I'm being charged with. So all of that was sort of procedural, and all of that happened just moments ago.
And Anna, let's talk about not just the procedural, but the theory, because I think one of the interesting things that we heard from the defense attorney was that she was saying with the state and the federal charges that the theory of the case were in conflict with one another. You mentioned the terrorism. That is the theory, she says, in the state-based charges. In the federal charges, the theory, according to the defense attorney, is stalking and that they conflict. Explain to our viewers a little bit more about what you're hearing there.
It's a great question. And Karen Friedman-Agnifilo, she's looking at this, and she's looking at 2 or 3 stalking-related charges on the federal side and a murder charge. And then on the district attorney, the Manhattan District Attorney side, you're seeing terrorism, and those are different things. So she was asking the judge, well, wait a minute, is this like a concurring investigation? These two theories are divergent. People in the legal community are sort of all kind of gobsmacked, like, wow, they weren't necessarily expecting this. And then other experts I've talked to said, well, you know what? If I was Mangione's attorney, I might want my client to serve time in a federal court instead of a place like Rikers Island, where he would be if he's convicted on the charges that District Attorney Bragg has charged him with. There are so many questions, though. Right now, all we know is January 18th, so just about 3 weeks from now, 3.5 weeks from now, there is a preliminary hearing for him on these federal charges. So far for Bragg's case, we don't have anything. We don't have a time for an arraignment. He hasn't been arraigned on those charges, and we certainly don't have a preliminary hearing. So it does appear that the federal case is taking precedent and will go first.
All right, Anna Schecter, thank you.